We begin our drama with a chase between Park Tay Jung, on his bike, and a man in a yellow car. Tay Jung vows to take revenge on the other man, even if it kills him. We then shift to the past. Tay Jung is making deliveries across the city. A rich couple in a snazzy red car drops one of his parcels on purpose, spilling the food. They think he's another delivery man who bumped shoulders with the woman. Tay Jung drives his bike in front of the car and forces them to pay up. Tay Jung then brings his little brother some food. They talk about the new cafe Tay Jung is planning on opening and about Tay Jin's upcoming exams. Back home, Tay Jin starts a live video of him studying, and Tay Jung sets up a beautiful garden on the rooftop of his cafe with his friends. His girlfriend Suji stays the night. In the morning, Tay Jung heads out in his deliveries. He offers a helping hand to an old woman who needed her suitcase moved and even leaves a kind note by someone's houseplant, telling them how to care for it. While having a snack, he sees an abandoned phone ringing opposite the convenience store. A woman calls and asks Tay Jung to bring her phone to her, even offering to pay him. She gives him an address which leads him to a tunnel. The woman tells him to leave the phone inside a phone box in the tunnel, where he finds his payment. He then drives away. Back home, Tay Jung and Tay Jin pay their respects for their mother's death anniversary. However, that evening things change. Cops storm Tay Jung's cafe and arrest him for rape and murder. Turns out, a woman's dismembered body has been found in a tunnel near the Han River, and Tay Jung is their prime suspect. Tay Jung is kept in custody. Suji hires a lawyer for him and visits Tay Jung in prison. Since the time of death of victim isn't fixed, the lawyer tells Suji and Tay Jung's friends to get his whereabouts from over 2 days. They collect receipts and CCTV footage, and the lawyer seems optimistic. During the trial, the prosecution points out that Tay Jung made a delivery at the victim's house and stayed longer than he needed to. Tay Jung recalls moving the plant and leaving tips for the owner. The prosecutor then shows footage of Tay Jung dragging a suitcase up a hill. This was when he helped the old woman, but she's not visible in the footage. Turns out, this same suitcase was found near the victim's body and might have been used to transport it. The prosecutor then brings up the incident with the phone and tunnel, which also turns out to have been the victim's phone. Further, Tay Jung's DNA has been found inside the victim's body. In one of the evidence photos of the murder scene, Suji notices Tay Jung's bracelet on the floor. Unfortunately, this is too much evidence against Tay Jung and he is dragged away. Later, Tay Jung's lawyer quits and even Suji begins to doubt him. She removes her matching bracelet and leaves. In the end, Tay Jung is sentenced to jail. Soon, a public defender named Kim Sang-rak comes to see Tay Jung. He says he found the case against him suspicious and promises to help. In return, Tay Jung tells him that he's remembered that he dropped his bracelet in Tay Jin's room. Sang-rak agrees to go visit his brother. Tay Jung continues to face issues in prison. He gets dragged to the prison's boss, Yeo Deok-soo, and even gets assaulted by other inmates. Kim Sang-rak returns with bad news. Tay Jin has killed himself, leaving a note that said everything was too overwhelming. Tay Jung is absolutely broken after this and tries to commit suicide multiple times. Ultimately, another prisoner named No Young-sik, who is also the altar server in the prison's church, approaches him. He offers some comfort and tells Tay Jung to keep himself busy and find a way to survive. After this, Tay Jung starts to work out, study, and even garden. A montage shows that the bullying and beatings continue, but Tay Jung becomes stronger and even earns several different certificates because of the studying he's doing. He even starts reading the Bible. The scene shifts to 5 years later. We are introduced to Yohan, a mysterious man who has a Professor X-like setup which gives him access to thousands of security cameras. On the phone, he tells the other person that he will take care of the situation. In prison, a kind guard strikes up a conversation with Tay Jung and even asks him to take care of one of his plants. No Young-sik comes over and gives Tay Jung his bracelet and some cake. He reveals that he's getting out that day. As he's leaving, both of them thank each other for the support they received. Tay Jung replaces Young-sik as the altar server. When a new inmate arrives and gets all beaten up, Tay Jung tries to offer him some cake and the Bible that Young-sik gave him. The boy's story comes tumbling out and it's eerily similar to Tay Jung's. He also found a phone, tried to return it, and ended up framed for a crime he didn't commit. He was also approached by a public defender and later informed that the lawyer found that his mother had killed herself. Tay Jung can't stop thinking about it. In the morning, the young man is found dead, having suffocated himself with the pages of a Bible. Tay Jung contacts the public defender Kim Sang-rak, pretending to have new information. He then confronts him about the other inmate and soon, the lawyer pretty much admits he killed Tay Jung and the other inmate's mother. When he leaves, Kim Sang-rak makes a phone call and tells someone they need a clean-up. Later, Tay Jung tells the prison's priest that he can't be his altar server anymore. We then see him pull a nail out from one of the church's pews. Later we see an auction. A sculpture by an artist named Wrongfully is currently being bid on. Yoan, as an online bidder, bids on the piece. He competes with a man named Chairman Shin Myung-ho. During a break, Yoan gets a call from the chairman. We learn that Chairman Shin is trying to get the sculpture for Yoan, as payment for Yoan keeping his son out of trouble. Yoan is bidding just to see how far the man will go, as a twisted game of sorts. Chairman Shin ends up agreeing to pay 6 billion won for the sculpture. Yoan receives the sculpture and adds it to his grand collection of sculptures, which includes many Arlelis. He then calls the chairman and tells him that the scapegoat who took the fall for his son had died in prison. This is the same man who killed himself with the pages of a Bible in the previous episode. During a big company meeting the next day, Yoan gets a call from Kim Sang-rak, who tells him he requires a clean-up. In prison, Yeo Deok-soo's men try to beat Tay Jung again. This time, Tay Jung takes them all down and warns Deok-soo to leave him alone. In the city, No Young-sik is trying to run an electronics repair shop. His daughter, Eun-bai, enters the store and takes what little cash he has lying around. They are clearly not on good terms. The priest from the prison soon arrives and tells Young-sik that Tay Jung has returned the Bible. Deok-soo vents his frustration out on an inmate who was talking trash about him. Another prisoner named Do Gang-jae arrives and the two bullies greet each other. Deok-soo is then taken to meet the warden, who asks him to keep things quiet for a while. He says they are under scrutiny due to the recent suicide. Instead, the warden tells Deok-soo that he's assigning 2 white-collar criminals to his cell to make up for it. Deok-soo agrees but later tells one of his men, Jin Young, to attack Tay Jung anyway. Young-sik visits Tay Jung and asks him if everything is okay. Tay Jung confesses that he's planning to escape the prison. We see that Tay Jung has carefully evaluated the facility and decided to escape during the guard's shift change, which occurs at 3:30 p.m. He has a half-hour window in which he can escape, but for that, he needs to be assigned a cleaning job in Zone B of the prison. That evening, Jin Young gets assigned to Tay Jung's cell. He tries to kill him, but Tay Jung wins the fight quite easily. The next day, he sits down with Deok-soo and tells him to stop. Deok-soo refuses and starts attacking Tay Jung, eventually being tossed by a guard and sent to solitary, which seems to have been Tay Jung's goal all along. Later, the kind guard from earlier, Officer Yang, gives Tay Jung some green sponge that he asked for in order to decorate the church with flowers. Tay Jung hides a bit of that sponge inside a flower plot, which he keeps in the storage closet. He then attacks one of the inmates working in Zone B and secures the cleaning job for himself. When he gets the keys to the zone, he makes a mold of them in the green sponge, fills it with glue, and then hides it in his garden. Meanwhile, one of Yohan's men arrives at the prison, disguised as a doctor giving vaccines to the inmates. While everyone else goes to the infirmary for the vaccines, Tay Jung stays behind at the mechanical workshop area to fix one of the guard's car engines. When the guard leaves for lunch, Tay Jung uses the workshop tools to carve out a set of keys from the molds he made. On his way back to his cell, Tay Jung finds himself ambushed by Do Gang-jae and his men. Gang-jae offers to team up and take Deok-soo down. Tay Jung refuses and Gang-jae gives him some time to think. In his cell, Tay Jung finds a guard waiting for him. He says that a big fight has been organized the next day and he wants Tay Jung to be in shape, since he's bet a lot of money on him. So he sends someone else to take the vaccine in his place. The next day, the officer takes Tay Jung for the match, where a large group of prisoners will fight in front of the warden. But Tay Jung is planning his escape and it's already 3 p.m. So, he hastily beats one person up and leaves, leaving Gang-jae irritated. But he finds one more obstacle in his path. Officer Yang had realized that he never got the vaccine and brings the doctor to Tay Jung's cell. The doctor injects him with a pink liquid which is different from what he gave everyone else. All while Tay Jung's time to escape keeps becoming shorter. As the doctor heads out, he sends a text message to someone saying that it will all be over in 30 minutes. After they are gone, Tay Jung uses the nail he took from the church to create a small short circuit. When the guards go to check it out, he uses his keys to steal a guard security guard and to take civilian clothes from the storage area. He wears these under his prison uniform. While hiding from a guard, Tay Jung suddenly feels a stab of pain. He then goes to a different room and climbs into the vents. Outside the prison, Officer Yang sees no Young-sik waiting. He assumes he wanted to see someone and Young-sik says he missed the window of visitation time. Inside, Tay Jung manages to reach the outside of the police station where civilians are waiting. He leaves the building but is suddenly overcome with dizziness and falls. Back in his wealthy house, Yohan comes up with a new plan to entertain himself. He tells his nanny, who seems thrilled by his cruelty, to contact their clients who have a connection with the Ministry of Justice. The prison warden soon gets a visit from the police commissioner, who introduces him to Yohan. Yohan gives the warden a proposal as well as a bag of gold bars. He tells the warden to send him murderers, rapists, and thieves to play in his game. Meanwhile, Officer Yang looks through the CCTV footage and retraces Tay Jung's steps. We learn that Tay Jung didn't actually manage to escape. He wakes up in the infirmary, where the real doctor tells him he had warfarin, rat poison, in his system. Apparently, the vitamins that Young-sik bought him worked as an antidote and bought him some time. Officer Yang tells Tay Jung off, saying he treated him too well. The warden lets Kyung-soo out of solitary confinement and tells him not to make trouble. Of course, he doesn't listen and rounds up his men to attack Tay Jung in the infirmary. The fight begins and Officer Yang, who realizes what's happening, raises the alarm. While the guards are fighting with Kyung-soo's goons blocking the infirmary doors, Tay Jung takes down his other men. Then it's finally a showdown between Tay Jung and Kyung-soo. Despite being stabbed multiple times, Tay Jung manages to take Kyung-soo down and cuts his ear off. Tay Jung is sent to solitary where he has a vision of Tay Jin and apologizes to him. Soon, Tay Jung and other prisoners are forcibly taken from their cells and transported in trucks to a different location. When they wake up, Yohan brings them out and tells them this is the land of opportunity. In a flashback to 5 years ago, a man named Baek Do-kyung murders Chu Na-young and then calls his father for help. Elsewhere, a number of men in suits attend an event celebrating an investment firm named GA Investment, which has won the bid to be in charge of national data security. 3 of these men badmouth the firm and the way it won the deal. Yohan goes over there and makes it clear that the company's core was always data security. They are stunned to learn that he's the CEO. One of them points at Yohan and later, Yohan's assassin cuts the man's finger off. At home, Yohan adds the finger to one of his sculptures. He then gets a call from Assemblyman Baek, who wants to get Do-kyung out of trouble. In return, Yohan tells the assemblyman to buy him an art piece. Yohan then gets to work. His team of cleaners go to the scene of the crime and set up cameras that allow Yohan to see the place. They keep Na-young's body in warm water in the bathtub and in the meantime, Yohan looks for a candidate to frame through the millions of CCTV footage he has access to. This is how he finds Tay Jung. Yohan carefully follows Tay Jung's routine and even has his crew collect his DNA, including a used condom the morning after Tay Jung and his girlfriend spend the night together. He keeps a sick plant in the building where Tay Jung delivers food to ensure that he will spend more time inside and also makes a replica of his bracelet. Everything goes smoothly and Tay Jung is soon arrested. At present, the prisoners arrive at Yohan's compound. There, they receive a lavish feast and individual rooms marked with numbers. Tay Jung stays in room 9, although he doesn't sleep. Instead, he sneaks out and tries to find an escape. Sadly, he gets caught by Yohan himself. Yohan tells him there will be a match the next day and a special reward for the winner. When he returns to his room, Ji-young, the man who tried to assassinate Tay Jung and has now developed some respect for him, takes Tay Jung to see Kyung-soo. Kyung-soo's men are about to attack him when Yohan's guard force them to stop. In the morning, the prisoners are called outside. Yohan tells the prisoners that they will be engaging in a car race. When one of the prisoners protests this treatment, Yohan shoots him dead. Yohan reveals that the prize money for the winner is 5 billion won. We then see Do-kyung and another man arrive at Yohan's setup. Yohan has arranged Fall Guys for both of them, having organized 3 different Fall Guys for 3 of Do-kyung's crimes. The men refer to the Fall Guys as avatars. Yohan welcomes them and tells them that the car race is more of a dogfight since there aren't any rules. Yohan plans to turn this into a form of entertainment, allowing gamblers to make bets on the dark web. He will then take this idea international and implement it in different countries. In another lavish meal for the prisoners, during which Ji-young approaches Tay Jung and asks him to form an alliance with him. He knows Tay Jung has an auto mechanic license. The other prisoners form alliances as well. Gang Jae takes Yohan up on his offer for a private consultation. He butters Yohan up and offers a long-term partnership. Yohan agrees to think about it. Kyung-soo then meets Yohan and tells him he wants to kill one of the inmates. Yoan makes it clear Kyung-soo can do what he wants during the car race. Meanwhile, Tay Jung takes a look at Ji-young's car. When one of the prisoners steals another prisoner's car, Gang-jae realizes there are no rules to stop them from stealing the first car. They soon learn that Ji-young's car is a sports car and come for it. Tay Jung and Ji-young drive away, with Kyung-soo and Gang-jae both in pursuit. Yoan sees that the prisoners are already chasing each other but tells his guards to let it be. After all, 3 cars crash. Yoan tells his people to put a stop to the fighting. Ji-young's sports car unfortunately bursts into flames. In the morning, Tay Jung visits Yoan. From Yohan's office in a high tower, Tay Jung gets a good look at the surrounding area and spots a long strip of metal that could work as a ramp. Outside is a road leading away from the factory. Tay Jung asks Yoan why he's doing this and Yoan says it's for fun. That night, Tay Jung works on his car and adds protective armor to it. In the morning, he overhears one of the prisoners saying he swapped his engine for a turbo engine. Meanwhile, Yoan gets in touch with Gang-jae and tells him he's taking him up on his offer. He's left a gift in his car to make the race more interesting. Soon, all the cars head out to the racetrack. Yoan announces that the first person to complete 20 laps will win. The race kicks off and the man with the turbo engine is the first to lose as his car goes up in flames. Gang-jae and Kyung-soo end up cornering Tay Jung's car, but they are surprised to find Ji-young inside. Turns out, Tay Jung is in car 11 which has gone off track. Yohan's drone searches for the car and finds it empty. Tay Jung then leaps out on a bike. At this point, Yoan also remembers that Tay Jung is the man he framed. Gang-jae finally opens the present Yoan left for him, which turns out to be a gun. On Yohan's encouragement, Gang-jae goes after Tay Jung. But Tay Jung uses a chain to drag a small cylinder behind him which hits one of Gang-jae's tires and takes his car down. Yoan announces a change in the rules. Whoever can catch the man on the bike will win. Everyone comes for Tay Jung, leaving him stabbed and hit by cars but alive. Yoan brings out his own sniper and starts shooting at Tay Jung. Tay Jung manages to get on his bike and even uses the gas cylinder to destroy Yohan's drone. He then drives his bike over the ramp that leads to the outer road to escape. Tay Jung drives over it and Yoan shoots him. After Tay Jung's grand motorcycle escape from Yohan's factory, he washes up on the shore, steals some clothes from a nearby house, and runs towards the city. However, he is injured and nearly passes out by the time he makes it to Young-sik's repair shop. Back in the factory, Yoan tells the warden to tell his superiors that the other inmates died in a gas leak. When Tay Jung wakes up, Young-sik promises to help him with whatever he needs. He even gives him a phone. Tay Jung's first step is to find the lawyer, Kim Sang-rak, and beat him up. Sang-rak confesses that they pick a scapegoat and frame them for someone else's crime. They call this sculpting. By then, Yohan's assassin arrives to help Sang-rak. However, he starts losing the fight against Tay Jung and decides to kill him and Sang-rak with an explosive. Sang-rak dies but Tay Jung manages to jump out the window. Yoan isn't happy to hear this and turns up to kill the assassin himself. Tay Jung grabbed Sang-rak's file on his way out, which has information on Yohan's new target. It is So Hyun-young, a woman who will be framed for someone else's crime just the way Tay Jung was. Meanwhile, we are introduced to Detective Hwan who is surprised to learn that the charges of bribery against him were cleared away by Yoan. In return, Yoan asks him to track Tay Jung down. Detective Hwan visits the prison to have a look at Tay Jung's cell. Officer Yoon, who is himself indignant at not being allowed to investigate the incident, shows him around. As for Yoan, he starts working on sculpting So Hyun-young. Tay Jung decided to keep an eye on her to find the people following her. With Young-sik's help, he creates spy cameras and installs them around Hyun-young's salon. One day, Young-sik's daughter Eun-bai arrives to take money from her father as she normally does. Tay Jung mistakes her for a thief and pins her down but Young-sik soon clears it up. She takes Tay Jung aside and demands he pay rent, for which he uses the money that Young-sik just gave him. She also punches him to make things even. Through the cameras he set up, Tay Jung spots a suspicious car around Hyun-young. He also notices a biker following her around, which must be how they implicated Tay Jung's possession of the victim's phone as well. Tay Jung goes to Hyun-young's salon but by then, she has left. Her daughter tells Tay Jung that she found someone's phone and has gone to return it. As he goes after her, Officer Yoon and Detective Hwan turn up at Young-sik's house. They question him about Tay Jung and try to search the place, but Eun-bai fires up and makes it clear that they can't simply barge their way inside. She forces them to leave and Young-sik asks Officer Yoon not to visit again. So Hyun-young returns the misplaced phone to a woman in a brown coat who is standing near a food stall, but almost immediately, Tay Jung rushes in on his bike and steals the phone. At home, he shows Young-sik the phone and explains that it belongs to the victim, a young, male pianist who was murdered. Tay Jung calls the most recently called number on the phone and tells the lady on the other end to give him money in exchange for returning it. The woman tells her boss, who agrees and tells his people to kill the thief after the deal. We then see the woman waiting on the street with a bag of cash. Tay Jung calls her and tells her to give the cash to a deliverman who stops in front of her. After she's done that, he tells her she will find the phone on top of some mailboxes. Once the woman has got the phone, Tay Jung follows her on his bike. Meanwhile, Yohan learns that his people agreed to pay the thief in exchange for the phone. This was done without his permission, which ticks him off. As a result, he tells another assassin, this one a Chinese woman, to kill the man in charge. She stabs him through the head. Yohan tells her to clean up the mess and then leaves. Tay Jung follows the woman all the way to a warehouse. Over there, he steals one of the workers' uniforms and follows the woman. He sees other workers collecting DNA and other evidence from everyday household materials. He takes a video of it on his phone, but his phone suddenly starts ringing when Young-sik calls him and tells him that the Chinese assassin is trying to kill Hyun-young. With all eyes on him, Tay Jung is forced to fight all the workers off. He then rushes to Hyun-young's salon and fights the Chinese assassin. Tay Jung manages to hold her off long enough until the police sirens are heard and she runs away. Just as Yohan is learning about Tay Jung's trip to the warehouse, he gets a visit from Baek Do-kyung and his father. His father, who seems to be a powerful man capable of finding Yohan's address, even when he keeps it hidden, tells Yohan to clean up the Tay Jung mess by the end of the week. Yohan and Do-kyung even end up exchanging words. Young-sik and Tay Jung bring Hyun-young and her daughter to Young-sik's house. Since it's not safe there either, Young-sik asks Eun-bai to let them stay at the apartment she shares with her friend. Eun-bai asks Tay Jung for an explanation and he tells her. As a result, she even shares her phone number with her father, which leaves Young-sik overjoyed. When the two go back home, they see a news report about the murdered pianist. Apparently, the prime suspect in the case committed suicide. Tay Jung goes back to the warehouse, where he sees that all the workers and the woman in the brown coat have been killed. He also finds the severed head of the assassin Yohan killed and an envelope addressed to him, with a bundle of cash inside. Suddenly, a projector comes on and tells Tay Jung that Do-kyung is the real killer of his case. It then gives him a hint of where to find Do-kyung by providing part of Do-kyung's Instagram handle. It turns out Yohan is the one who sends him So-kyung's details and turns his social media account public to see if Tay Jung will go after him. Through the account, Tay Jung learns that Do-kyung is in Busan and decides to go there. Elsewhere, Tay Jung's friends get a visit from Detective Hwang and Officer Yoon. While the two are leaving, Officer Yoon gets a call from Tay Jung, who tells him that he's looking for the real culprit and will prove his innocence. Detective Hwang grabs the phone and hears an announcement from the Busan train terminal, where Tay Jung currently is. We are then introduced to Yoo Seung-gyu, a Busan gang leader who knows Baek Do-kyung. Do-kyung has invested in Seung-gyu's upcoming club, for which he still needs more money. He introduces Do-kyung to a new drug and then tells him to arrange for a party on a ship that night. Back at the electrical repair shop, Young-sik worries about Tay Jung. Eun-bai suggests they track his phone since it is in Young-sik's name and they realize he is in Busan. Detective Hwang soon has the same idea and locates both of Young-sik's phones in Busan. However, we see that Officer Yoon has received a picture from Tay Jung with a locker number and password on it. Elsewhere, Yohan attends a memorial service for his parents. An uncle tells him not to blame himself for their deaths anymore, but once he leaves, Yohan smirks. After the ceremony, one of his aunts tells him that they need to sort out the issue with the shares soon. After everyone leaves, Yohan's nanny sees him off to lunch, but she doesn't join him, saying she has other plans. Her plans seem to include a Chinese assassin ruthlessly killing a large group of people. Yohan's family members who were gathering for dinner. Yohan's aunt, now injured, asks the nanny if Yohan knows she is her real mother. She also accuses the nanny of manipulating Yohan. The nanny describes how Yohan only opened his heart to her and not to anyone else in the family. So much so that he poured mercury into her eyes and blinded her so that she would never be able to leave him. The nanny then kills the aunt by stabbing her. As Do-kyung and Yoo Seung-gyu are entering a party boat, the latter sees Tay Jung waiting outside. Tay Jung sneaks onto the boat and confronts Do-kyung, putting his phone on to record a confession. However, the guards turn up very quickly and Seung-gyu knocks Tay Jung out. Back home, The nanny tells Yohan that a fire broke out in the house where his family was dining and killed everyone. He then gets a call from Kyung, who says he's captured Tay Jung and asks for a refund. Yohan reluctantly agrees. While Tay Jung is tied up and locked in a room, Young-sik arrives with his daughter and Detective Hwang arrives with the cops. Seung-yu is forced to let the cops search the place. Meanwhile, Kyung, high on drugs now, decides to kill Tay Jung himself. He goes over to the boat where he had kept him only to find the room empty. Young-sik, who was searching the boats, found Tay Jung and untied him. They're running away when Officer Yoon and Detective Hwang catch them. But Eunbai knocks the detective out, which allows the three of them to escape. They take refuge at Eunbai's friend's house. The next day, Officer Yoon goes to the locker that Tay Jung had texted him about and finds documents with information about Kyung. Elsewhere, Seung-yu sends his people to look for them. Kyung then calls Yohan and asks him if he arranged for Tay Jung to be let out. Yohan realizes that the game isn't over yet. Kyung uploads his location on social media, telling Tay Jung to come, while Tay Jung makes a makeshift gun from the tools he finds. Yohan meets Kyung's parents at a restaurant. He makes sweet small talk with Kyung's mother and then proposes a new security detail to Assemblyman Baek, since Tay Jung is after Kyung. Assemblyman Baek laughs it off and says he can handle it himself. He talks down to Yohan, basically calling him a servant. That night, Yohan receives the congressman's response as a number of masked men storm his house. However, he grabs a sword from one of his sculptures and single-handedly takes them all down. At Eunbai's friend's house, Young-sik tells Tay Jung about his past. He used to be an alcoholic. One night, while fighting with his wife, he threw a cigarette on the floor and left the house. The embers must have caught on something because when he came back, the house was burning and he couldn't find the courage to go inside and save his wife. The police thought he lit it on purpose and that's why he was arrested. Meanwhile, Yohan watches camera footage of Young-sik and Eunbai and wonders why they are helping Tay Jung. Eunbai then heads out to a shop to buy cigarettes but comes across Detective Hwang in the shop. She quickly leaves, but the detective soon recognizes her and sounds the alarm. The detective and Officer Yoon follow Eunbai's bike, but she manages to lose them and reach the house in time. By the time the officers get there, they see Eunbai and Young-sik driving to the mechanic to get their car. The two behave as if nothing is wrong and claim to have no idea where Tay Jung is. In reality, Tay Jung escaped on his bike. Sometime later, Yohan meets Eunbai and Young-sik in person and asks them if Tay Jung paid them to help him. They say he didn't, and when Yohan continues to probe, even mentioning Eunbai's mother, she gets angry and tries to punch him. As a result of the ensuing scuffle, Yohan injures both Eunbai and Young-sik. As for Tay Jung, he sees Kyung's social media post and arrives at the mentioned location where Kyung, Seung-yu and his goons are waiting for him. When Kyung refuses to confess, Tay Jung brings out his nail gun. He takes down most of Seung-yu's people and then fights Seung-yu himself, grabbing his gun in the process. He then goes after Kyung, who sees him coming and gets into his car. A chase ensues with Tay Jung chasing Kyung's yellow car and being chased by Seung-yu and his men. This brings us back to the very first scene from episode 1. After a long chase, Tay Jung kills Seung-yu and takes over his van. He uses it to push Kyung's car ahead, which ends up ramming into an oncoming truck. Tay Jung tries to get a confession from a bleeding Kyung, but he refuses and soon dies. That's when Yohan calls Kyung's phone and Tay Jung picks up. He finally realizes who Yohan is. Yohan offers him money, promising to restore his life to normal. He even asks Tay Jung to work with him. But Tay Jung is set on his target and assures Yohan that he will take him down. The scene then shifts to a fancy apartment, where Yohan kills Assemblyman Baek and the young woman he was with. While the Assemblyman is dying, Yohan confesses that he killed his parents when he was 16 years old because they were going to donate all their assets to a temple. He stabbed them more than 100 times and then framed a recently escaped murderer for the crime. That's how he realized he could make it a business. He later visits Young-sik's shop and looks around. When he finds a picture of Young-sik and Eunbai, he burns it. We see Detective Hwang and Officer Yang being told to call off the search for Tay Jung. Instead, Detective Hwang corners Young-sik and has him arrested as a suspect in the murder of Assemblyman Baek. All this, despite Officer Yang's protests. Tay Jung, who was planning on meeting Young-sik in Seoul, sees what's happened on the news. What follows is one of Yohan's standard ploys. Young-sik's DNA is found at the scene of the crime, and the paper that was used to send the Assemblyman threatening letters is found in his home. Detective Hwang even threatens to bring Eunbai in as a suspect. Meanwhile, Tay Jung goes to Young-sik's house and looks for Eun-bai. He promises to fix the situation. Back in Johan's house, he completes his 100th sculpture. Turns out he is Arlily. He's just been toying with his clients to see how desperate they can get. His nanny suggests that he reveal his identity during the auction for the 100th sculpture. He then gets a call from Tay Jung and offers him a chance to fix things. He leads Tay Jung to a phone box, which has two objects: the knife that killed the assemblyman and a blank check from Johan to Tay Jung. Tay Jung has to choose one of the two. A flashback takes us to Young-sik's past. When he gets arrested, he realizes that Eun-bai is getting bullied for his actions, and he tells her to forget about him, saying he's not her father anymore. When he gets out of prison, their reunion is a harsh one. But he later overhears her talking to her friend about how much she missed him. At present, Eun-bai hires a lawyer who gets her to meet her father. He tells her to stay out of the situation no matter what happens. He later confesses to the crime. Officer Yang realizes he's faking it and tells Detective Huang as much. But the detective tells the prison guard to mind his own business. Soon, Tay Jung arrives with the knife and offers up his own confession. Young-sik is allowed to leave and comes back home to Eun-bai, who is furious that he took the blame for something he didn't do. He hugs her and promises never to leave again. However, Johan doesn't seem happy that the police let Young-sik go. He turns up at the police station himself and asks Tay Jung why he didn't just let Young-sik take the fall. Tay Jung doesn't give him the satisfaction of an answer. Johan storms out and calls the prison warden, ordering him to kill Tay Jung. The next day, Officer Yang arrives to take Tay Jung to prison. In the van, Officer Yang asks Tay Jung if he's given up, and Tay Jung admits that he has. Yang then makes the driver stop for a break. When the driver goes to the bathroom, Yang gets in the driver's seat and drives off. He drops Tay Jung off at a deserted location and tells him a van will be waiting nearby. He apologizes since he can't do anything more. A series of flashbacks shows that Officer Yang went to the locker Tay Jung directed him to and found photos of the culprits, as well as the voice recording of Kim Sang-rak, who describes how Johan sculpts victims for various crimes. Officer Yang went to the warden for help, but then overheard him agreeing to kill Tay Jung on the phone. At present, Officer Yang storms into the warden's office and punches him in the face, saying that he has told Internal Affairs everything. As for Tay Jung, he reaches the van that Yang told him about and finds Young-sik and Eun-bai waiting for him. They put together some tools and decide to take on Johan together. We see the preparation for the auction of Arlily's 100th sculpture, where Johan's identity as the artist will be revealed. Tay Jung takes Young-sik and Eun-bin to his mother's old place, where Johan is unlikely to have installed any cameras. Meanwhile, Officer Yang then makes the warden call Johan and tell him that Tay Pung killed himself. However, Johan seems to realize that the warden is being threatened. Tay Jung and his friends investigate Arlily and realize that an auction took place every time there was a murder. They find out that the sculptures were payment for covering up the murder. Back at the prison, the Internal Affairs officers arrive, but they take Officer Yang away instead of the warden. The next day, the auction for Arlily's 100th sculpture begins. Johan's nanny bids on it but loses the sculpture to a guest in a private room, who agrees to pay 10 billion won. Johan and his guards enter the room to find a heavily bandaged Du-kyung in a wheelchair. A flashback shows that Du-kyung never died. Tay Jung visited him in the hospital and struck a deal with him. At present, Du-kyung has the police officers arrest Johan. As he's being escorted out, Johan tells his nanny to call his friend. Surprisingly, Du-kyung gives the police everything he has on Johan, even if it implicates himself. Back at the art gallery, a string of trucks leaves with the Arlily sculptures, heading to Johan's house. With some help from Tay Jung's friends who create a distraction on the road, Tay Jung sneaks in as one of the truck drivers. He then tells Eun-bai, who is watching, to go home and stay with her father. When Johan is kept in a holding cell, we learn that his friend is none other than Yeo Deok-soo. He and his gang members storm the police station and kill everyone inside, including Detective Huang. Deok-soo escorts Johan outside to his car, where the Chinese assassin is waiting. Johan drives to the hospital where he strangles Du-kyung, while the assassin heads towards Young-sik. By the time Eun-bai gets home, the assassin has already stabbed Young-sik and then makes her move on Eun-bai. Back in Johan's house, the workers finish setting up the sculptures and leave, allowing Tay Jung to hang back. Johan realizes as much and rushes home while Tay Jung tries to go through Johan's secret room from where he spies on everyone. Unfortunately, an alarm goes off when Tay Jung takes the hard disk. Tay Jung runs out only to be confronted by Deok-soo. He surrounds Tay Jung with men and a fight ensues. Of course, Tay Jung knocks down all of them, including Kyung-soo. By this time, Yoan arrives and brings his knife out. He reveals that he knew Tay Jung was coming all along. The hard drive that he stole will erase itself. In fact, the real data is stored in a drive that is part of the knife itself. The Chinese assassin then comes out, holding Unbai at knife point. Yoan tells Tay Jung that he'll let Unbai live if Tay Jung kills Kyung-soo. But Tay Jung can't kill him in cold blood and drops his knife. Yoan then reveals he's going to kill Tay Jung and frame Unbai for it. That's why his 100th sculpture resembles her. Within seconds, Tay Jung picks up his knife and Unbai throws the assassin off. Unbai passes out and in the meantime, Tay Jung knocks the assassin out as well. He and Yoan fight and in the end, Tay Jung stabs him with his own knife, pinning him to the large screen where he ruined so many lives. Sometime later, Kyung-soo is recovering in the hospital and Unbai looks after him. The news reports talk about Yohan's death in his house, which went down in flames. They also describe a whistleblower who revealed all of Yohan's doings as well as the prison guard, Officer Yang, whose confession helped move things along. In light of these new findings, Tay Jung is soon pronounced not guilty. 6 months later, Tay Jung is back to setting up his plants and has officially opened up his cafe. Officer Yang is out of trouble as well and meets Tay Jung, greeting him warmly. Kyung-soo helps him out at the cafe and at night, they have dinner with Unbai and Tay Jung's friends. In the end of the drama, we see someone else sitting in Yohan's chair, watching the big screen.